let's take a look at this video and slow it down for a little bit so you can see it's just a model being blown up. All just models. Models, models, models. And then, of course, take a look at this supposed airfield when I slow it down for you. Real good stuff coming up. Yeah, so I just slowed this down. Take your time to look at these are just models. You can see by the explosion that that's just coming from a little pyrotechnic within the model floor. It's just made to look big. It's just a very small fire, actually. Notice through all the rest of these videos, you're just seeing basically early cinematography, special effects. Look in the background, pause it anytime you want and verify what I'm saying, because it's the truth. This is not real. They have fooled you. They have fooled you into believing there was a World War II, where Adolf Hitler was, goose stepping his way around the fucking world, man. They told you millions of people died because of these people. Millions! Man, there's just no proof of a single war death. No one's ever been able to come up and prove it. You know why? Because there isn't one. Do you know what happens if somebody gets hurt in one of these accidents? Where let's say they're demoing or breaking up on their own. It's just a workplace injury, man. It's not a war. Oh, hold up. I'm gonna make you watch this till you see the fakery of it. Keep replaying this until you see it. You gotta use your eyes. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Alright? So let's go through the rest of this. Where'd all this other stuff go? And then they have the so-called ground war. So, okay, you bust the fake hoax air war. No problem. Easy. So how about the ground war, right? So here, let me show you what they always do. They always show you people shooting and firing off into just empty fields. If you follow the trajectory of whatever they're shooting, it's always off into the distance. It's never into anything that would matter. Alright, hold on. Yeah, so in this next little picture, I'll go ahead and pause it and then take a good look around. Take a good look around at all this. You can see it's just a scale model. Notice that the scaling of the buildings to the foreground to the background, you can see there's not a great distance. You can see that middle green area is just a model. You can see that now that you're looking. Okay, this is another thing that goes back to even the Vietnam and all those other fake wars. You see them just shooting off into the distance. Nothing going on. So anyways, I guess the biggest point of this is the following, is that you should not witness to death that you did not in fact see. Because natural death isn't, nobody's going to put up, if their grandmother had happened to fall down the stairs and break her neck and die, let's say. And she lived to the ripe old age of, let's say, 86. Nobody's going to put up a YouTube video that says, one old lady dies from a fall. If they're going to put up a video, it's going to be a respectful video of someone's life. But yet, how many of you just run around with numbers on your lips as if people don't exist? As if there's 10 and 20 and 30 people dying. And you guys just say whatever you want to say. You don't have to prove anything. In your world, they don't actually exist. They're just numbers. 65 million died in a war. Hey, whatever. Who really cares, right? It's just a number. You see fireworks falling from the sky, they claim it's an airplane, whatever. Hey, whatever. They run you down under the basement, and you hear a boom, and they tell you a flippin' air raid happened, and you're like, yeah, whatever. So yeah, this is real important, because you will answer. You will answer to the Father in heaven. I will tell you that right now. You will answer for every witness of death that crosses your lips by name. You will answer for that. Do you understand me? That's true false witness. So I suggest you do the following. I suggest you stop death in Vietnam. And I'm not joking right now. Do not do it in my presence. Don't do it. Do you understand what I just said? And if you don't, listen again, because you have to understand this is very important. Do not witness to death you in fact did not see. Have I made my point? Trust in Jesus Christ to get you out of this deception and work. This next video will cover the hoax of the United States Civil War. Enjoy. So between the years of 1861 and 1865, they claimed that there was a war that went for 4 years, 3 weeks, 6 days, ended on 7/22, 1865, killing 600,000 people, starting at Fort Sumter in 1861, equaling 16, that equals 7, to 1865, that equals your 20 or your 2 or your 27, meaning it's another hoax. The Civil War is a hoax. And I'm going to go through a few things to prove that to you. Alright, I'll start with just one quick note. Okay, so you have your 777 right in the first paragraph of this hoax story. So, as the story goes, you had Fort Sumter attacked in 1861 by just a guy who's, fired off his weapon. And I even have a picture of him. Let's bring him up. This guy. They blame this guy. So you have Lincoln, who calls up 75,000 troops for 3 months. That equals your 9. And so you have an instant federal army, right? Because at the time the South actually had the money. So this place is a Pentagon, just like the Pentagon today. And so you had a fake 9/11 attack on a Pentagon, and then you had a call-up of men. This time they were volunteering. He wasn't drafting. They were volunteering. He was asking. And then that was because they had to have the reason for the Southern governors to say, no, we won't do that. We're not sending our boys. This, that, and the other thing. It's all a contrivance. So they went on to tell you that over 600,000 people died in this war. All right? Untrue. There's zero evidence of any battlefield footage, any death that I can find. And I'm going to show you a few things here dealing with. Okay, as it's seen today, you can tell that it's a pentagon shape, the old shape, and then the center, I guess, is where they have whatever they do today. Going into the actual pentagon shape is what I want to show you, and then the numbers that correspond, and you'll see that there's a wedge that deals with, they talk a lot about the blue fin 21 and all that nonsense, but you'll see that that's the 72 wedge, and that's where it would be the 14, or that side, the fallen side. I want to go ahead and put over what's called the tree of life, and you'll see that it corresponds to what's called Bina, or understanding, or 3, or what's called Saturn, Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call that. So then we have just another 9/11 event, just like this 9/11 event in 2001 was a hoax, completely made up, controlled demolition. The one back in 1861 at Fort Sumter was a controlled demolition hoax. Notice here with the Bruno Mars, you have the same stage. It's an idea. It's marinating your mind for an idea, for something to happen. And this was at the Washington reopening. You notice that he's pointing at the 14, or if you put the pyramid with the little lines, the the chambers. It would line up with the KC, or the King's Chamber, the KC. Think of Kenny Clutch, the Las Vegas Kenny Clutch, the Maserati, burst into flames. Remember that hoax? So you had this guy Sherman, and this is what he actually looked like. He was a rich man, but that's not going to fly well. So you need to dirty him up a little bit and give him a little bit of character. So you present this to the public, right? This guy. I went ahead and put the triangle around because that's what he's actually doing. He's actually got his hand in the cookie jar, just like the rest of them. And they're feeding you a bunch of nonsense. You're eating their cookies. Cookie monsters. Eating all their little cookies, their fake lie stories. So now what I'm going to do is go through a few pictures of the fake so-called Civil War. Hoax. No one died. No one got hurt. Alright? No one died. No one got hurt. Fact. I'm going to show you the most famous picture of so-called bodies on the ground, and I need you to look with your eyes and see that they are not people. Okay? Then I also need you to notice how the legs are splayed open, and then look into the distance at the other so-called corpses with their legs splayed open, all looking exactly the same, with their big mannequin hands. This is just early dummy technology. Early dummy technology, and then even the heads have the same lulled back thing. Notice this. Do you see? 1, 2, 3. All with the same leg splayed action. Now let's go to another picture. Because these guys, that's not a dead body. Also, do you notice that that's supposed to be a battlefield? Yet everything's just laid on grass. There's no indication of a war having been fought here. Next picture. Okay, this one's entitled Men Recover Under Tree. These are supposed to be injured people. As you can tell, they're just acting and sitting under a tree. They look fine. There's no indication of injury. You're just going to assume that. They just took a picture of people sitting there, and just assume anything you want. Next. This is actually a picture I found with a guy on a stretcher, and it's labeled at the archives, first aid drill. This is a first aid drill. Early Sandy hoax. First aid drill turned into a war. Now I want you to pay special attention to this picture of the Capitol, and I want you to look at the reflecting pool area and look at the state of decay. Do you want to know why they did what they did? They needed money. Because Washington, D.C. was falling apart. They had a half-built dome Capitol, a reflecting pool that looks like a dump. I mean, quite literally, the foundation's falling apart. It was a city on its way out, and they couldn't have that. So they made up a war, and they tried to make up a bunch of nonsense about slavery and every damn thing else. And you know what? You don't know anything about what this country was like prior to. Look at it with your eyes. That place was a dump, and they needed money, and they hoaxed everyone. Yet again, no one died, no one got hurt in the Civil War, because there was no Civil War, period.